Miss Esther Lopez, Nancy Lowry, and I'm Ernesto Gamboa. So again, welcome. We always like to start off with a real quick, short video about 1 Million Cups.
A weekly educational program developed by the MCA Foundation. We're in different cities, basically encouraging you to see what's happening across the country. What happened from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable. Typically, other people have ideas too, help you if you know my idea is it's worth it. It's good. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still know how to do it.
Okay, so who's here for the first time? Please show of hands. Welcome, hopefully you'll be back. So what is 1 Million Cups? It was established by the MCA Foundation for the purpose of supporting entrepreneurs, building an entrepreneurial infrastructure and network. So every week 2 entrepreneurs come and tell their story, their entrepreneurial journey, their trials and tribulations, their lessons learned, for 6 minutes, and then we have a 15-minute question and answer session with you all, the audience, and that's the real value add. Don't be afraid to get in the weeds, ask them tough questions, challenge them, and also the entrepreneurs always tell us that they get fantastic ideas, great feedback from you all, so that's the real value. We'd like to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. Our coffee is by pickup.coffee, and he always asks me, that's actually the domain name, pickup.coffee, so you can find more about his excellent coffee back there in the back also. And our venue sponsor, of course, here is the Hub of Human Innovation. Please download the mobile app for 1 Million Cups El Paso. And you can also follow them and the Hub on Facebook and Twitter. And the mobile app now has a feature where you can actually provide feedback to the presenters after the fact. So if you don't get a chance to ask a question or provide feedback, or you think of something later, or you're just very, very shy, which hopefully you're not, you can also provide feedback on the apps. So with that, I would like to introduce our first presenter, Rise of a Leader.
So everybody had their coffee, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Yes. So I need some energy coffee, right? So good morning!
Good morning!
You make me feel good already. Rise of a Leader. My name is Hasani X. I'm founder of Rise of a Leader. Now our story and what we're all about probably isn't as important as something that I think is near and dear to each one of you. And that's your story. You know, what we do is basically give our leaders a cup of coffee. Help them feel what they need to feel in order to rise and get to where they need to get to. And I thought it would be interesting to give you some of that instead of tell you about it. So, everyone here, how many entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs now? Okay. How many of you could stand to be better at presenting your business? Telling your story. Okay. So I need a volunteer. Who wants to come up here and be a volunteer and walk through something? Only have 5 minutes. Come on, someone, be brave. You got your coffee in you. Come on, someone. One person. There you go. Give her a round of applause, please. She's like this, okay, all right. Now, you said you were in the drug testing business, right?
Yes.
All right. That's a hard thing to probably come out there and say, I'm coming here to drug test and et cetera and so forth. So how do you tell people about what you do? Go, 20 seconds, tell people what you do.
We help protect the workplace, keep it safe and drug-free.
All right, keep it safe and drug-free. I'm going to go through a communication strategy, right, for presenting what you do. And we call it WIPA. Every success comes down to a strategy, yeah? Whether you're leading, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a parent, or you're drug testing, it comes down to a process, a strategy. And WIPA is a communication strategy. The first W is wow. You get in front of an audience, you got to wow them. What's the wow factor in what you do? I know drug testing doesn't sound that exciting, but what's the wow factor in that?
Keeping your workplace safe, protecting your human capital.
Okay, keeping your workplace safe, protecting your human capital. For all the entrepreneurs out there, if you ever get in front of an audience, I urge you to find a way to connect from the beginning, because the worst thing that an entrepreneur can be is ignored. Because if you don't have someone's attention, they won't listen. So finding a way to connect with the wow. right? What is a wow? And I challenge you to probably really think about that. The second is to inform them. To inform them about the journey you're about to take them on. At Rise of a Leader, we quite literally help leaders and entrepreneurs to rise. And once you're at this destination where you rise, you're able to accomplish things and see it at a new level. So where are you taking them? If you were to inform me quickly, succinctly about what your business does for people, what would you say it has?
It increases productivity and it really affects their bottom line.
Okay, increases productivity, impacts their bottom line. All right. Third is the painful problem that you solve. If we aren't able to connect at this level, then we won't be able to sell our product. Because people come to us to have their pain addressed. So what pain do you help your clients resolve?
Compliance, first of all, with the federal government. Second of all, substance abuse is a real issue in our country, and we can help provide resources and reduce that.
Okay. All right. All of you as entrepreneurs, one of the painful things is to look out into our bright future and to figure, hey, we're trying to rise and we can't reach it. And who does that impact? Our families, our communities, all these different things. If I can connect to you and resonate with you at that level, and help you to solve a problem, a pain, a real one, then we can connect and you'll start to listen. Just a little bit. I'm rushing through this, but I really want to give you something to take away here. The next is a pleasurable solution. How do you take this pain, resolve it, and make angels come out and sing? What's the pleasurable solution?
Negotiating pricing with new clients.
Negotiating pricing with clients. That's what your service gives your clients. That's their pleasurable solution. Other trying to work to negotiate pricing.
In my world, it usually comes down to that, because the process is the process. It's the service, the quality of service and price.
So quality, service, and pricing. And the last is the action. What call to action? What are you really trying to get people to do? How would you summarize that?
So help us facilitate their drug policy.
Okay. Now, we went through this super fast, but if we look at trying to really connect people and tell a great story, we have to have all 5 of these aspects connected. How do we involve them? How do we inform them? How do we connect them to pain? How do we connect them to our pleasurable solution? And what is the call to action? Now, you spoke about, come on. You spoke about her drug policy. Yes, you can sit down. You can sit down. You can sit down. But how do all these things connect to be able to tell our story in a meaningful way? If I'm going to take a stab at it, I don't know your business, I don't know anything about it, but if I would say I was to stand before an audience, I really want to connect with you, and I'm going to say something to the effect, drugs impact your business in a way that you may not even be aware of. And not only that, it impacts your culture, your bottom line, all types of issues. And what I'm going to come here to do is to help you not only to resolve that in a way that doesn't impact your bottom line. Yada, yada, yada. And when I'm done, this is what you can look forward to. You have a better staff. They're not coming in like, where's the... You can eliminate the road. You can connect them with a story that speaks about, some of the issues. You told me that in your business, the stories that you run across and the issues, like sharing that. And you have people going, yeah, I experienced that too. And all it takes for you to get over those painful issues is to work with me in this capacity, making it easy. Now, at the end of the day, there's a strategy for success. At Rise of a Leader, we're looking for that strategy for success. There's a strategy for success for each entrepreneur. And there's a process involved. But one of the things I really want to leave you with is to consider this. No matter how powerful the process that you bring into your life, into your business, there's a secondary aspect to it that a lot of us forget. That results are not just process-oriented, but people-oriented. In the last 40 years, we have been a process-oriented economy. Process-oriented economy. Meaning that the tactics, the strategies, the actual math of it, we've become really good at that. But if we look inside our organizations, what we find is we're moving into a people type of economy, people type of business world, where if we're not able to move people, it doesn't matter what process we use. Better results, I have a formula, I say better people plus better processes equal better results. And Rise of a Leader, yes, we work with leaders and entrepreneurs and all types of people in their performance and that to help them rise. And they always want a strategy for speaking, for leading, for productivity, for culture. But at the end of the day, we can Google that. We can Google that, and you can find a process on communication. Right? There's more information in this phone than there was in the lap of any person ever. So our success is not predicated upon process. Big business can drive data, and it can glean the smallest of advantages that we as small businesses really can't capitalize on. But this side of the equation is limitless. So I urge you to think about this. Wherever you're at, and you're looking to rise, yes, there's going to be a process that helps you. But at the end of the day, it's how you move yourself and your people and how you lead. That's what matters most. All right? So that's Rise of a Leader. We help leaders to rise.
Now we have 15 minutes for Q&A, please. Questions?
I have a statement.
Yes?
Your website is awesome.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate
recommend
that.
everybody to look at it. That's crisp and clean. It's great.
I appreciate that. If we go back to the WIPA formula, it's not just a process for communicating your business, it's a process for communicating anything. If you want to influence your spouse, if you go through this process, you can do it all the better. Right? Make sure you have their attention, inform them where you're going. Yeah, you know, I'm thinking this. And then they're going to go. And then you say, well, look, we have all these problems, and if we don't do this, we're going to have this and this and this. And they start going, yeah. And then if we solve it this way, they're going, okay. And all we have to do is this small thing, honey. And then she's like, okay, I get it. So it's a communication strategy. It's a way to think about your website. It's a way to think about anything when you're trying to influence and to persuade. Yes?
Can you demonstrate WIPA on Rise of a Leader?
Rise of a Leader. All right. When I walk into an organization, I work with the El Paso Electrics of the world, publicly traded companies, the city, Southwest University, all the major big companies around here. Those are my clients for Rise of a Leader. But I actually do coaching for entrepreneurs and other people who want to improve their public speaking or some other thing. So the first thing is I have to know who's in the room. I have to know who I'm talking to. So let me give you context. Let's say you are the El Paso Electrics of the world. Corporate environment, different audience. How would I do this? The first thing when I say, wow, I sit down with that person, I might say, look, I'm young, I'm black, I'm aggressive. I'm probably the last person you want to listen to right now. Got their attention. Whether they believe in what I said or not, I have their attention. I will not be ignored. And then I might inform them to the effects. I'm here because, as you know, there is a crisis in leadership. According to the Deloitte study of Fact Book for Leadership, 80% of leaders worldwide say we have a leadership crisis, and I know that your industry is suffering and you are too. But I want to share with you something. Go to the pain. All of your leaders, etc. and so forth, their cell phones ring all the time while you're in meetings, millennials. Do not turn shit off. You have all these people who ... And then I get them saying, yeah, we experienced that. Yes, we experienced that. But did you know that there's a way to help move them past that? See, it's not about informing your leaders and giving them more information, sit-down trainings and seminars. It's about getting your leaders to live it, to breathe it, to become it. And if you can help your leaders to live it, people will follow you. And they're like, And I can show you how. We have a 4-part process that I'm going to tell you more. My process, my call to action, what I do is not important. Because if they truly want to solve their problem, they can Google it, they can find it, they can pick up a Marshall Goldsmith book, and they can figure out leadership, they can call on John Maxwell. The processes and strategies are out there for us. So it's those who are able to connect to people and their problems, and to connect them to pleasurable solutions, and to be the gateway, the bridge to something new, who are those that are chosen. Hope that answers the question. Yes?
What is your background, and did you develop this philosophy?
Yeah, I graduated from university. I started, here's a chronology. Oakland, ghetto boy, violence, death, all of it. find a way to get out of the ghetto, get an Ivy League degree, Wharton graduate. I started a business consulting firm called Flory Consulting. I'm helping to build businesses in Los Angeles, California. We do really well. I sell that company because building businesses isn't really a passion of mine. I know it like the back of my hand. I can sit down with you, go through your business, I can give you 8 things that can transfer your business immediately. But building people, I'm far more passionate about. So I developed a kind of a coaching model for helping to build entrepreneurs. That was my bread and butter. But I got to El Paso 3 years ago and I found that the entrepreneurial space was not into the coaching as much as other places I live. So I started to develop Rise of Leader as a corporate model because those are the people who are hiring consultants. And that's why I started to work with El Paso Electric, the city, Southwest University, and San Francisco. Yes.
It's a growing industry, coaching, obviously, generally speaking, as you know, you just explained. How much of your productivity is online versus in person?
I suck online. I have not been able to crack that cookie. Like, I can give you advice up the ass on how to, make your business successful, social media-wise, and successful-wise. We have a marketing guy in the back here. But I haven't been able to crack that cookie. It's only through direct experience that people hire me. And I don't know how to get over that. But I know I can rely on. That's what works for me.
So what's the next chapter then?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, just to continue to enhance my experience so it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. 80% of the business is referral-based. I go into an El Paso Electric, they give me their toughest, most craziest departments that are losing millions of dollars, and they're like, we don't know what to do. Hands up, HR is like, give it to that dude. Let's see. It's like the bar is low, and I hit a home run. And it's that, like, I can't believe you were able to do that. So I have to take on the toughest, craziest, most chaotic work. But if I'm able to show and prove, then that leads to the next and next and the next.
You're a team of one?
Now I have about 4 consultants across the country, coaches that I work with, various things. So
At El Paso, let's just see.
yeah. Well, now I take that back. I have someone I co-contract with. Yeah, appreciate it. I don't know if anyone knows me, but yeah.
And how much more capacity do you think you and your team have?
At this point, a lot more. I was telling Ernesto, I'm a lazy entrepreneur. I'm not, he asked me, is this franchise? Is it just you? I try to look like I'm bigger than I am, but truthfully, I don't want to be that big right now. I have a family, 3 kids.
You said you did business development in the past, but you went more into the human element. But the online element is going to be 78% of your, I think, future.
I agree.
So you may need
I haven't been able to figure it out.
I think you need to hire that 5th person maybe to get you online like big time.
I have stuff online, it just hasn't worked.
I think that's your next chapter.
I agree. I would love to be able to work on my jobs and go, who wants to work with me today? that would be great. I haven't gotten there yet, to be honest.
Do you want it to go online?
I would. Someone can help me track that nut. I will sit down and be like, you have a challenge in front of you, but if you know your shit like you know, like I know mine, then I'm happy to work with you.
Might be able to.
Yeah. What else? Who else? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I like everything you're talking about. You misspelled success.
That was intentional, it was a test to see you pick it up.
Yeah,
I love your whole
I went
message.
to public school. I went to public school, so I don't know how I graduated from college. Yes. But being in that space of doing everything, also sometimes the attention to detail is probably my nemesis.
It's not a diss.
No. I should be held to a standard. I need to spell success right.
Hasani went to Wharton, W-A-R.
Yeah.
I snuck in, like, I don't know, like it was a mistake. I don't know how I got in there. But yes, thank you for pointing it out. And I make all types of errors like that.
Yeah. We all do. But
No, I make a lot of them. But with my clients, I'm so aggressive in pushing the envelope of what I'm trying to do with them. They don't turn a cheek to those things, and I try to, make up for it. But I push the envelope for people I work with. And then I try to make it seem like that shit doesn't matter, but it does. Like that. So thank you for pointing that out.
That wasn't an error, that was on purpose.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay. The last question always from the community, what can we as a community do to help you, Hasani?
Take a look at what I'm doing online, since that is the next chapter. How can I better convey what I do so that I can get the work that I'm looking for? My process for landing a client is pretty in-depth in terms of the interaction that they have to have with me prior to them being comfortable saying, I want to work with you. And then there's a variety of factors at play. My age, the size of my company, who I am, my approach. And there's a risk, taking me on. But with no risk, no reward. So I'm trying to figure out that aspect of it. Yes?
What about YouTube videos?
And I have 150 YouTube videos. I have like 100 podcasts. I have a whole bunch of shit. And it just hasn't produced for me. So, if you could look at it and be like, hey, this would be the thing to try. I would love that. I'm always looking to get better. Always.
Okay, great. Thank you, Hasani. And then we need a picture real quick. We gotta move this. It's real complicated. Alright, there we go. Great, thank you. Okay, now we have some community announcements. In fact, I know there's one for sure. So, Jonathan.
Hey guys, Jonathan, I'm your business banking specialist for Wells Fargo downtown. I just wanted to let you guys know what I do. Part of my job is to reach out to the community, make sure that we can make banking easier. And I want to invite you to reach out to me if you guys have any questions about how to make banking easier. I'm available here and downtown pretty much every day, 8 to 5. We have a promotion. Just for giving us a try as your business bank, we deposit into your account $250. If anything, try us out and you'll see that you like the service. Thank you.
Okay, the next very important announcement, and thank you for that, by the way. Oh, you have one more? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Were you already trying to cheat start?
No, go ahead.
Somebody left this water bottle. Oh. Okay. There you go. All right. That's very important. I go crazy when I lose my water bottle. So, okay. Other community announcements here. The El Paso Service Corps of Retired Engineers, which is a great asset for anybody who's looking to grow or start their business, is having a webinar or a seminar on search engine optimization (SEO), and that'll be on June 1st. For more information, please see one of us. Next is Love Juarez / Visit the Borderplex is having a Tarde con Extranjeros, an afternoon with foreigners, and that will be in Juarez at the Archaeological Museum. So please let us know. Oh, yes, at the Archaeological Museum in Juarez. Next, People Fund is having a People Start event. All kinds of great information on how to start or grow your business. Esther, do you want to add anything on that?
It's going to be very educational because we're going to help you how to set up a balance sheet, how to do your financials. It's very, very interesting for anybody who would like to go, and we're going to be providing lunch.
Ooh, cool. And that's on June 7th? June 7th? Next, the Live Fund is having a free seminar and networking opportunity on digital marketing. That will be on June 15th, which is a Thursday. So please let us know if you're interested in that. Next, the Hub, where you are right now, is having a customer discovery workshop. That'll be on Saturday, June 17th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please see any one of us on that. Next, the Greater El Paso Chamber is having their next Business After Hours event, June 22nd at 5:30 p.m. And then the Hub is having another workshop, Build a Successful Crowdfunding Campaign. And I can tell you from experience, crowdfunding is more an art than a science, so you really need to learn as much as you can about that if you're interested. That will be on Saturday, July 15th. And then we have a question to give away, a mug. Who here has already used the app to provide feedback? Anyone? Okay, kind of, you use the active right feet? Oh.
No,
we have-
I got one.
Oh, he has one already. Okay, great. He's a past presenter. All right. Well, then, so I figured it was going to be no one. I was surprised when I didn't get it. So I have a backup question. Who here, not including Hasani doesn't count right now, who here can name 3 past presenters and you yourself are not a presenter? Anybody can name 3 past presenters?
Did we have to be here to name them?
No. See, then we have one contestant in the back.
The gentleman from Vitalia, the gentleman at the back over there, and Ann.
And so
Oh, and Ann. Okay, so that's good. Winner. By the way, if any of you guys have an idea for a question for future mug giveaways, please let us know. We're kind of struggling. All right. So with that, we're going to bring up our next presenter. It's the MCA's, the Medical Center of the Americas Proof of Concept competition.
Thank you to the Hub for having me. My name is Jeff Fuchsberg. I'm the Director of Intellectual Property and Innovation Projects at the Medical Center of the Americas Foundation. A lot of people still sort of wonder who we are, so I figured I'd just start real quickly with the MCA campus. So that's our building, the Cardwell Collaborative on Gateway East by the new fire station. The entirety of the campus consists of Texas Tech Medical School, the Gale Breedman School of Nursing, UMC, Children's Hospital. We've got a couple of active projects out for bid right now where we're trying to develop a comprehensive medical campus here in El Paso. That's one part of what our organization does. Another part of what our organization does is try to elevate the level of clinical trials activity here in the region. And the part that I work most closely with is support for innovation in the life sciences and trying to build a biomedical industry and trying to bridge El Paso with what's going on in Juarez, which a lot of people don't have a concept of. Do people know that there are 10,000 people working at a Johnson & Johnson plant in Juarez? I mean, there's quite a bit going on here. It's just on the other side of the road, as it were. So we're trying to be connected in that regard. So our innovation programs are largely housed in the Cardwell Collaborative. That's the, and this is the 3rd floor of the Cardwell Collaborative. So this would be the home of the MCA Innovation Center. Twice a year, we have a regional poster session where we encourage researchers from across disciplines to come out, present their research, network with one another, get out of their silos, get to really become familiar with who is here and what's being worked on, because there are a lot of great things being worked on, and it just sits in its silo unless other people are aware of it. This is one of our wet lab facilities. It's our large conference room. One of our programs that's just winding down was the space race. It was an innovation business plan competition that we partnered with NASA for. We picked 10 inventions from the NASA Quick Launch portfolio that we thought were a strong fit for the region. Because it was federally owned IP, we had to have this competition be open to anybody and everybody in the world, provided they were not on an export prohibition list. So we wound up with 10 columns people could compete under, 10 inventions from NASA. We just promoted it like crazy locally, because that was all we could do to ensure local impact. At the end of the day, 18 of the 40 teams came from our region, 4 of the 10 winning teams came from our region. So when you have a startup competition like this, a team from MIT won, and nobody's really too surprised. A team from Johns Hopkins won, nobody's really too surprised. We had a team from ITCJ at Juarez win. I think people were surprised by that. I think that's pretty spectacular. A UTEP team was the highest scoring team overall in the competition. I think people were surprised by that. So there's a lot of talent in this region, and a lot of ambition and a lot of energy, and we're trying to create programs to harness all of that. So right now, we've got a proof of concept competition open for entry. The applications are due June 19th. We're going to be providing funding in the amount of $5,000 to $50,000, 6 months of lab facility use, entrepreneurship training and support from our staff and our partners. So we'll be providing LivePlan, that's a software platform that's got elements of the lean startup and elements of traditional business planning. We're partnering with Eric Pavia to deliver the accelerator curriculum. If those are those of you who are not familiar with him, he's on the adjunct faculty at UTEP. He teaches business law. He's got a startup that he works on that was not started locally, but he works out of our building. He works remotely for his employer. He was also on the founding team of StartX at Stanford, which was their student incubator. So we're trying to, again, attract the talent that's left El Paso and, marry that to the talent that's here in El Paso. Mentorship from regional business leaders. So we've got our executive in residence has accepted, so that's Will Jewell, the former chief accounting officer at Western Refining. He's on board. Our investor in residence is Ed Escudero from High Desert Capital. He's on board. We're still waiting on an answer from our first invitation for entrepreneur in residence. So I won't say who it is, but I would be equally excited. So again, we're trying to take some of that operational and management talent that exists here and help sort of, the established business leaders bring up that next generation of business leaders. So we'll help you develop, launch, or scale your technology. So it's a proof of concept competition in that, we are willing to back things that are probably too high risk for angel investors. An angel investor probably doesn't want to back the science project. And in traditional startup models, particularly in high tech and in lab to market, you've got this sort of time period known as the valley of death, where your initial research grant has run out and you don't have anything demonstrable that you can build a business case around that's really too attractive to investors yet. So we're going to sort of de-risk that for investors and try to bridge that valley of death with stuff that is as early as proof of concept level. That said, if your technology is more advanced, we're not going to turn you away. Same as for our technology focus area. As an organization, we are focused on the life sciences. However, there's a lot of great research here going on in other fields. A lot of great research that has funding from SBIR programs where if you've got something great going on, we're not about to turn you away. So we'll help you start your company. You don't need to have a company yet to apply, but you will need to form a company before you can get funded. Help with your business plan, help build your professional network, and help with your investor pitches and get you in front of investors. So some key dates. The application is due June 19th. We'll be having interviews the week of June 26th if we need more information. We'll be announcing our winners July 6th. mcamericas.org, you can find a link to the application from the homepage. The application itself is extremely lightweight. Well, first, there's always fine print. Those who know me know that I will focus on fine print at least a little bit. So it's not free and clear money. It's not a pure grant. It's something patterned after CPRIT, but it's still extremely friendly terms where the first $1 million in revenue, we don't touch. After that, 2% goes back to the MCA until 3 times the initial funding is paid back. So that's actually slightly more generous than what CPRIT does. And again, we give you that $1 million buffer at all times. You don't owe us anything if you never make $1 million in revenue. The other sort of string is anything we fund, we want to happen on that 3rd floor of the building where we do have great facilities and we want people to get to know these facilities and more importantly, get to know one another.
What about IP?
What about IP?
So during the startup process, let's say you get your fund. During that time, we decide to increase our IP portfolio. We work with you. Are you expecting some percent ownership of that, or
no? We would not take ownership based on use of our facilities. And there's generally rules for inventorship, and it's contract and employment based. We would not.
You will not go
stake a claim to that. We're not taking any equity stake in any of the startups. Again, it's that revenue share just to create a sustainable program where we're trying to do our best to have companies come out of this program and be attractive to investors. But as far as what about IP, we can sort of display that question out a little bit. We do ask about that in the application. So the most important thing, I left out the instructions. My favorite part of the application was, don't worry if you can't answer this. Part of the program is to help you develop answers to all of these questions and really understand the ins and outs of your value proposition and your competitive advantage what you're trying to commoditize. So there is a big disclaimer where basically we just want to know how far you've gotten. We want to know what you know. If you don't know everything, that's fine. That's what this program is here to help foster. So it's extremely lightweight. It's 4 pages. I'm not going to go through it in great detail now if anyone has any questions, but we do ask, is there IP resident already in what you're working on? Is there any third-party IP? Open source can be a great sort of minefield where people think, because they see open source somewhere, that it's open source for anything and everything, and oftentimes that's not the case. So my background is in university licensing for a medical device company. So that's an area of expertise where I'm very helpful, and there are others in the organization and others in the community that have their own areas of expertise that we're trying to bring all together in one place. So really, it's a very simple application. It was designed to take 2 hours. So it's really not it's not a final exam. It's just tell us what you know, and it's milestone based. So it does sort of go back to that proof of concept principle where tell us where your technology is at now. Tell us what you think the next milestone is, and tell us what you think you need to get there in terms of person hours, in terms of facilities and equipment, and in terms of funding. And we don't have, there's no magic number. If we get 5 companies that all want $50,000, that's great. If we get 83 companies that all want $3,000, well, that might not be so great, but you sort of get where I'm going with the 2 extremes. That just, we want to get things going. We think that an important part of developing an innovation ecosystem here is developing a critical mass of innovators sort of at that hub of your traditional innovation ecosystem map, as it were. So with that, I will go ahead and shut my mouth and say thank you and answer any questions that people may have.
Questions, please.
Is there an application fee?
No.
Okay, and I think you answered the question. Is there a limit to winners? You guys haven't decided exactly yet?
I mean, we have a magic number in mind. There's only so much space, but how it plays out, like there's no preordained number of winners. So you can apply, variably between 5,000 and 50,000.
What about grants during the time you're with your work or your contract? Do we get a grant? Is it considered income?
No. No. So actually, we will. Today tomorrow is the last day to properly submit questions about the application, and we will be posting all the answers. We had a professor from one of the universities ask us that same question. And at the end of the day, the way a grant works is it's all, it's a detailed line item budget where if we were to even take 2% of that, at least in theory, we would leave the PI unable to perform on the grant.
And it's hard to just...
So that said, a grant is a grant. If it's a grant that is actually an equity play or so, you know what I mean? If it's a pure grant, no. If it's an exchange of value, then that would be revenue. But 99% of what we're talking about when we say grants would be a pure grant and no swap of value.
How do we find you online, like this program?
MCAmericas.org, so Medical Center, Americas.org. MCA Found also works. And from the home page, there's 4 little splashes, and this is one of them. And back.
Have you made a video to share this information?
We have not.
Okay.
I'm a terrible presenter, if you haven't realized.
Oh, it was good.
Yes?
What type of companies are you looking for?
I mean, so in the application, again, buried in the fine print, we have a preference for innovations in the life sciences, a preference for inventions that are owned by the local universities. That said, there aren't other private lab facilities in El Paso. So we're not looking to turn people away who can make use of the facilities and make use of the programs.
But is it just life sciences or is it anything medical related?
Well, it needs to be, there needs to be a technology being developed as the core of the company. But it's open-ended as to application or field of use.
That can include industrial biotech as well?
Sure. That's it. I mean, it's a BSL-2 facility, so, you know, if you've got some, you know, great anthrax project, you know, it's hard to outsource some of it or work with a simulant. I mean, there are limits that, again, that's why we have those follow-up interviews. So someone who's not here is Jesus Carrillo, who I know has been here before. He manages all our facilities. He knows what our facilities and equipment can handle. He knows where the line is and what types of projects are inbounds and what types of projects are out of bounds. So that, again, that's part of what this application process is, because while this building is designed to fit almost everything, it doesn't fit everything, and nothing does. I'll also sort of just give a quick pitch to sort of how we run the building. All of our space is available on a lease basis, on a month-to-month basis. So that way, if you've got something where you need an office, you can have an office, and when it's time to grow, or you know, if the money runs out, you can leave. If you're doing something in an office, you get a grant, or you have need for a lab, you can rent the lab for a month. You can rent an individual lab bench for a month. So the whole lab facility floor is very modular and compartmentalized, and things can be moved around to suit the needs, to really, you know, maximize everybody's use of their resources. Yes?
On the third floor, how many companies do you have at this point?
We have 7 right now.
7. And on your fine print, you said it's 2x revenue. You had 2%. 3 times the funding and then 2% of the revenue.
Yes.
After that, what's next?
Nothing. So we you know, originally we put out 0.5% for a period of 5 years thereafter, and we were getting a little bit of pushback, and we sort of went back to the table and said, at the end of the day, this creates an unknown. What is that, you know, so here there's the cap. There's 2% until 3 times the grant amount. So you have a sense of your obligations. They're very well defined. The 0.5% running created sort of this undefined quantity that at the end of the day we thought could potentially hurt these companies when they're looking for investment, and someone's looking and says, well, you know, what is that? That could be anything. So we just whacked that.
Okay.
So this is an incubator overall, ultimately, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the physical facility and the programs, and there is an accelerator component to it that would, you know, ideally in a perfect world, sort of feed the incubator.
Got it. And what other markets, Phoenix, Dallas, whatever, is something like this comparable that someone like me who's kind of basic, like in reference, so I have a better idea, like another Cardwell happening in a different community? Is there other?
I mean, there's one under construction in Austin. I don't know that they've even broke ground yet. There's a facility in Albuquerque that's sort of a retrofitted school where, you know, ours is newer and sort of, you know, built for this purpose and not retrofitted. So I mean, these are facilities that are not easy to find. I mean, Tucson has great facilities also. That said, you know, I'm rattling off places that are 5 hours away minimum.
Right. I guess that. Yeah.
So this DSL2 mean, and can the average Jane just walk in and look around?
Yes, yeah. I mean, people pop in for tours and just want to look around all the time.
Aren't you BSL2? You can't enter a BSL2 if you're not certified, aren't you? Can you?
Well, the actual lab itself.
Yeah,
so I mean, you can. I mean, so the labs are, you know, leased by private companies, and you can't, you know, we can't provide access to other people's space and things that they're working on.
So I guess it's limited. The things that have the BSL things in it, which is the biosafety, that's what it means, biosafety level. Things are dangerous to you, you can't access it unless you have the proper training. So you basically really store everything. We've been there to show you a lot of time.
Yes, and right now we have nobody working with anything infectious.
You have an occupied lab?
What's that?
An occupied lab?
Yes.
It sounds like a great opportunity, and you know, you'll have people knocking down your door to get it. Do you foresee what's the problem or challenge, the biggest challenge you have in kind of moving that forward?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be sort of historically So I mean, we've got some sort of historical challenges that will probably play out to some extent today. I mean, in terms of where innovators come from, I mean, universities is a great pool of innovators. That said, not everybody wants to leave their day job. So you need to try to find people who get it, who aren't doing it for a living yet at the university level. Another place where innovators come from is sort of, garage inventors for people who are working in a closely allied field. So I mean, there's an old saying, it's one of my favorites, that the statistics don't lie, but statisticians are the biggest liars. So you can find numbers to that, but anyway, so there are numbers out there that would say the 200 largest metropolitan areas in the U.S., El Paso is bottom 10 for high-tech employment. So in terms of that skill set, it's small, it's here, and there are great people here. It's just the volume is not where we would like it to be and what you would see other places. Historically, they put out this data every 20 years. So in both 1990 and 2010, El Paso was at 40% the national rate per capita for high-tech business creation. So we've got a little while before 2030 and that next data set coming out. And we're hoping to, again, sort of de-risk things and sort of, take risks for other people in order to try to grow that pipeline and build critical mass.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
So did you talk about the IP coming out of Juarez?
So again, it's open to anybody. There is, back to the fine print, you have to be eligible to work in the U.S. A lot of people in Juarez.
No, not regarding the competition, just in general, if you're aware of IP coming out of Juarez.
If I'm aware of any?
Right.
I am not, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
If you will be considering people from Juarez, I think you should look into a little bit of the laws. For example, if somebody from Juarez has a budget, they can form a company in the United States. I think they have $100,000 that they can apply for a work visa here. So perhaps when somebody comes from Juarez and asks you about that, if you have that information ready for them, it will help you get some of those customers for you.
Yeah, I mean, the funds are limited. So, I mean, some of the things where it would be really tough to justify the use of these funds would be, visa sponsorship. Another would be, so again, traditionally, a university patent license. If you're a company and you want to commercialize something out of a university, at least in my background, come from industry, the first thing when you show up with the pen to sign something, they want a check for $250,000 minimum. And they want every dime that they've ever spent prosecuting those patents to date up front. Some of them will sort of stage out the payments, but you're not getting off the hook cheap. So I can tell you that NASA started this sort of very low upfront fee. I think the maximum it works out to is $2,000 to get a license for one of the NASA technologies we were doing in the Startup Challenge. The NIH did that a couple of years before NASA, and it all goes back to around 2007, 2008. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill started a licensing program like that to try to get more of their inventions out of the lab and get people working on them to build companies and create jobs and support the local economy. Without naming names, I can tell you one of the local universities, after meeting with NASA, has adopted a similar model where people who want to practice a technology can get to work with very few upfront barriers to entry. But it's just, certain things will just not work with this level of funding. They just won't work, and there's enough that will work that, we're confident that we'll get some good results. We're thrilled with what came out of the space race, and we want to try to build on that momentum and support what came out of that, and support what's coming out of the universities, and support what's coming out of the garages.
Any other questions? Okay, the last question. What can we as a community do to help the MCA?
Help spread the word. We'll be having a call for mentors soon. It would not shock me if a lot of people were scratching their heads right now saying, you know, what the hell is this guy doing at the hub, and why did the hub have him here? I don't think what we're doing is mutually exclusive in any way. I think we're partners in what's sort of a very lean ecosystem at the moment. If people want to come to our program and work with the hub, that's great. People want to go to the hub when they're done with our program, that's great. If the hub wants to help us, that's great. Without divulging any secrets, I can tell you I'm sticking around after this meeting to meet with people from the hub on a collaborative opportunity that we're developing. So, despite what your first impression might be, it's far from mutually exclusive, and it's all hands on deck or it doesn't work.
Okay, thank you. By the way, if you need a spokesmodel for your videos, I'm available at a very reasonable rate. Negotiable. Don't make a laugh, it was a joke, obviously, that's the whole point.
You have a couple minutes. You guys
Okay, everybody, well, that is our program for today, but a couple of quick announcements on your way out. If you did not sign in, please do so on your way out, and also please let us know how you heard about 1 Million Cups so we can know if our outreach is being effective. We are looking for presenters, so please sign up to present. Please come back and visit us and bring a friend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.